And we're streaming. And so I saw that. Let me see if I can find that stat again about offensive passing touchdowns, how much they're down.
Yeah, I
Uh,
saw that yards are down like a
everything's
lot.
down. Everything's down. Let me.
I was trying to think, trying to figure out why is that, right?
I don't know.
Yardage, I don't know. Yardage somehow I was attributing to the fact that, and it is probably not the case, but when you're starting your drives at the 30 as opposed to the 20, that's less yards for you to get. And over time,
Mm-hmm.
the numbers would shrink because you have less field to go with. That's one thing I was thinking of. I doubt it that that's really the cause, but also, it just, I don't know. In a league where the wide receivers are the league now, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much the league, and between them and the quarterback, you would think we'd be seeing better games, and
I
maybe the defense is caught up.
I think there's a lot more defenses that are playing that too high cover safety stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's not like cover two's not been around
it's
since.
not cover two. It's just the too high, right? So there's too deep on like every play. Um, I'm not an X's and O's guy, but
Mhm.
I saw that as a possibility. Why can't I find this number? Like it's way down. Like it's only like 38 passing touchdowns for 2 weeks or something like that. It is abysmal. I wonder if he deleted the post. Oh well. Yeah, but it's way down.
Yeah.
And when you're top, I think the top three quarterbacks in the league are like Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, and Baker Mayfield in passing touchdowns.
I can see that though.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Darnold's got the best wide receiver in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield has a really good wide receiver combination.
Mm-hmm.
And Gino, I think, is just playing within his system and doing a really good job. I like his wide receivers as well, but I would not put any of them in the top five.
Well, DK Metcalf had that huge play this
Yes.
weekend, and he had an all-time celebration. Did you see it? It was so great.
No.
He just stands there, he lifts one leg, and he puts one arm in the air, and nobody knew what he was doing. It was like figure it was like some kind of Captain Morgan thing. It turns out he was trying to do like Washington crossing the Delaware. Uh, that's what he said. He's like, it was a little bit too esoteric, I guess. He's like, well, nobody else got it. And then the guy that does the art, sports but make it art, or art but make it sports, found the painting and then put them side by side of
Was it
Washington.
good? Was it a good?
Yeah, it was right. It was spot on. Wrong arm, but it doesn't. I don't think it matters. It was mirrored.
Too many levels. He was a
Yeah,
high thinker.
it was like a really as far as like touchdown celebrations go, it was a good one.
He
Uh,
went back to 1700s for that one.
yep.
When you start pulling celebrations out the history books, you doing something.
Mm-hmm. Uh, so let's see what else. Oh, and speaking of long touchdowns, and you already mentioned him, Justin Jefferson had that 97-yarder. Sam Darnold,
Hmm.
like, I'm glad that he's starting to like live up to the promise of when he was drafted, right?
Of a number two quarterback. Yeah,
The second quarterback in the draft or whatever.
yeah.
Remember, like his rookie year, he's like, I'm seeing ghosts or whatever.
It was
Like,
moving too fast.
yeah, it's just like it hadn't caught up to me yet. But I will say it benefits to have a very good offensive
Oh,
line. When you got two tackles that just give you a pocket like that,
that play,
mm-hmm.
they were surrounded him, but no one was in arm's length of him.
Nope.
Like they were all around him, like he was in this protective bubble,
And he was
and he
throwing it
could
from the end
step
zone.
up. Yeah, and he could step up in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
He could do whatever he wanted. Yeah, it helps.
Had
It
all the
helps.
room in the world. And I was like, wow, okay, good for him. Good for him.
Oh
Because,
man.
I,
Speaking of offensive lines, though, I saw somebody on Instagram talking about his exact words was he blames Ryan Poole for um the the Bears offensive line. He says, "You need to stop drafting players like you." He said, "You were an offensive lineman. You weren't very good. You need to stop drafting." I was like, "Oh, that's mean.
I-
That's just
I'll be
mean."
real honest. Whatever happened at halftime, because that Bears game, it was the Texans did not get after Caleb Williams the same way in the first half as they did in the second half. Whatever happened at halftime is like the Bears just went out like they it's like they ate a bunch of pasta at like halftime, or they ate a turkey, the offensive line or something like that, and they were sleepy. I don't know. It was brutal. I've never seen
Yeah,
it harkened back to Jay Cutler against the Giants getting sacked
wasn't that 6-7 times?
eight times in the first half, and then he bounced his head too many times, and he had to come out. He's out for like 3-4 weeks after that.
I think it was OCU Manuro went crazy on him.
Yeah. But all the Texans did was blitz. They just blitzed.
That's it. But I think that people said like when Caleb is not being blitzed, he's like very accurate. In the game they showed, he was like 5 for 6, 80 yards when he wasn't being blitzed. So if you're getting stats like that, you go, "Oh, I think I know how to fix this."
Well, here's the thing: the Bears didn't pick up a single one of those blitzes, though.
But they were sending 5 at some point.
There's
of
one.
course,
There's one they sent
send
6.
5.
But if you watch the amount of whiffs that occur on the offensive line, it almost like they didn't know who they were supposed to block. And like Daniel Hunter,
stunts in there that was killing them.
Daniel Hunter just ran around the end one time at full speed and actually leapt off of the ground when he sacked Caleb Williams, which I thought was illegal. Like, you're not supposed to leave the ground when you hit the quarterback and land with all your weight. Whatever. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, that should have been a penalty," but like, it was bad. The Bears could not run the ball. They didn't try. Like they stopped trying to run the ball. I don't know what they're doing. It was really bad. But with all that said, they still had the ball with less than a minute left to win the game.
That's going to be the case for you guys every game because of how good their defense is.
That defense is out. They have allowed in 2 games a total of 3 second-half points. The Texans had 3 second-half points, and they only had 1 touchdown in the first half. The rest were field goals. 3 of them were over 50 yards. One was a 59-yarder. It was like from the midfield stripe. It was like from the 50-yard line. The dude kicked it in. And it had 10 yards. It had 10 yards to spare.
Oh, yeah, no. The kickers nowadays, so I heard somebody was watching one of the games, like, back in the day, a 50-yard field goal was an iffy field goal.
I remember those days.
They were talking about Justin Tucker's to go for the last kill, where they had to get the ball for him to get the ball. It was like at the 45-yard line on the other. That was it. Because he's got the leg for possibly 70.
Justin Tucker, this dude for the Texans, the guy from
Aubrey from
the Cowboys. That dude could probably knock him in from 70 if he really had to. Especially in the dome. He there's a chance he would hit the scoreboard like the punters do.
On the 70-yarder? Yeah.
Yes.
It's getting crazy.
It is.
What the
it's
kickers
insane.
could do. If you want to speak about kickers, then
let's speak about kickers.
let's go to the Giants. These segues happen almost naturally.
I know. And the greatest stat ever. I know I shared it with you earlier. I want to share it again, but go on.
Oh man. Let me charge this. I'll charge this. The Giants first play of the game. First play of the game.
Yep.
I personally think that you should just kick the ball into the end zone every single time.
For the touchback?
Risk some for a touchback. I don't care if we're going to the 30. Do not risk getting one run back on you. Just kick the ball out of bounds into the end zone. That's me personally. I understand why the teams might not want to do it. So Gano kicks the ball. The guy goes, runs it, breaks 3 tackles. Is going towards the end zone. Gano's got to try to tackle him. Pulls up limp before he even really gets to him. Hamstring, you immediately see it. Guy runs it in for a touchdown. Touchdown's called back due to a flag. Due to holding on the receiving team. All that was for nothing. The only thing that happened from that play was the Giants lose their field goal kicker for the rest of the game.
Yep.
The rest of the
No
game.
extra points.
No extra points. We tried one.
Mm-hmm.
The first touchdown, we tried to bring our punt kicker, our punter out there to kick it. He missed the extra point. Dable said, "Not again. We will not try to kick." And I knew when we did that, the game was going to come down and we were going to lose because of a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Our inability to kick field goals, point afters, we went for 2 points, 2 out of the 3 touchdowns. We did not get the 2 points. Most of the time, it was due to drop passes by a receiver. Because I'm gonna say this: Daniel Jones didn't have a bad game.
I was gonna say Daniel Jones had a nice game actually.
He realized that he needs to throw the ball to Malik Neighbors and no one else.
Yep.
Malik Neighbors was targeted, I think, 18 to 20 times.
He had 10 receptions. Yeah.
10 receptions. 130 something yards, got his first touchdown.
Yep.
The man looked uncoverable out there.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably open for more times than he got him the ball, but you just can't just force feed the guy the ball the entire time. Giants defense could not get off the field.
Nope.
Could not get off the field. They had 7 sacks.
Wow.
Meaning they were getting the field that they wanted. They were getting for 2nd and 17, third and 7, right? They were getting the down and distance that they want, but when it came to 3rd down, they couldn't get off the field. Yep. Something would happen. So, granted, the
I'm
Giants
guess it was a Brian Robinson run.
It was just named Brian Robinson run. It was really Jaden Daniels' ability to get loose and turn what looked like coverage downfield, good coverage downfield, but because the good coverage downfield, of course, you got that buffer zone.
Yep.
And he found a way to get the 5-7 yards every time he needed it, or run from Brian Robinson Jr. It was, I hated watching it because I was like, man, this defense doesn't look good. But then they get down to the red zone. It looks like a totally different defense because they shortened it. And this is why they got Bowen, because he had in Tennessee one of the best red zone defenses in the league. So they shut them down. They score 0 touchdowns. And you would think that a kicker might accidentally miss one. Just accidentally miss one.
I mean, he had plenty of opportunities to miss one. He had 7 opportunities to miss.
7.
Yep.
21 points off of field goals. And even with that said, the Giants were still in the game. The Giants still had it. If we had a field goal kicker, one, we're not going for it on 4th down on that play that Malik Neighbors misses. It's a field goal kick. You kick the field goal, you go up by 3, and you let your defense do what they have to do. That's what we're doing. But knowing that we have to go for it on 4th down, they give it to him. They run a really good play to Malik Neighbors, who once again is wide open. Daniel Jones delivers him a ball, so you can't blame Daniel Jones. And Malik Neighbors dropped it. 4th down. They have to give the ball back. At that point in time, Neighbors was heated. He was upset at himself. Really, like almost too upset. I really wanted Daniel Jones to go over to him in that time and say, it's game 2. You'll get 1,000 opportunities, and I will call your number 2 again.
Yes, number 1.
Don't worry about it. And he probably did do that. But you could see Malik Neighbors was hurt.
Yeah.
On the side. Even afterwards, he's like, I let the team down. These guys expect me to catch that pass. I expect myself. It was cool. I like that, but I'm like, dude, you'll get many opportunities. As long as you realize you made a mistake and don't let that cause the next mistake.
Yes.
I'm cool with it. But don't be that down on yourself. But I'm good. I'm kind of glad to see it. Giants defense just didn't come to play. They did everything else they needed to do. The offense did what they needed to do. Daniel Jones didn't throw a turnover. Devin Singletary did fumble the ball, which did not help. So the turnover, we lost the turnover battle 1-0 because we couldn't get the ball from them. But it was all in all, it was actually not a bad game. I think had we had our kicker, the game would have been completely
Yeah,
different.
I always said the Giants did what they were supposed to do to win the game. They just didn't have anybody kick extra
They
points
just
or
didn't have a
field goals,
kicker.
right?
So
That makes it tough.
yeah.
I
Then
was
now you could drop your stat
well.
on.
I will say this: DJ had a nice game,
He had a
right?
decent game.
Neighbors had a ton of opportunity. Was good, but the stat I want to drop is the Giants are the first team ever to score 3 touchdowns
Mhm.
in a game, not give up a touchdown,
No touchdowns given up.
and lose in regulation.
Yes, that sounds about
That's
right.
tough. That is
It
tough.
was tough. It was tough watching because once Gano went down, I knew it was going to come down to field goals.
Mm-hmm.
Game was that type of game where you could see that all I could do was hope that they would block one or he would miss one because the Giants couldn't get him out, keep him out of field goal range. And you would think that he was kicking 50-yard field goals. He wasn't. The defense was so bad in between the 20s that he was only kicking 35 yarders,
Mm-hmm.
25 yarders. And half of that was because for whatever reason, the Washington's offensive line couldn't stop jumping on 1st and 10, on 1st and goal on like the 6-yard
Mm-hmm.
line. they did it 6 times.
Well, speaking of jumping, we're gonna go back to the Bears. Their offensive line jumped. I think every down. Every down there was a false start. It was so insane. Oh, yes. The Giants.
Penalties
Giants should have won their game. The Bears could have won their game,
could have won that game.
but they didn't.
That
Right?
defense, man, that the Bears
That
have
defense
is
is
just
real good.
it's a defense. It's a defense that you want, especially for a rookie quarterback. He's gonna get so many opportunities to go down there and make a
He's gonna
game
get
winning
short
drive.
fields. He's gonna get like
They're never not gonna say never. They're going to keep teams under 20.
they have so far.
And if you could do that to CJ Stroud with Nico Collins, Tank Dell,
Nico Collins
and
looked unstoppable in the
Stephon.
first half, and I was really scared. I'm like, oh god, this is going to be the game that the Bears get exposed, and it's like, then it becomes all sorts of talking points, right? But Nico Collins had the touchdown, which is a nice play. He had that insane catch, running out of bounds with one hand, where he grabbed it and pinned it to his chest, kept 2 feet in. Yeah, he had a great game all around. And CJ Stroud had a real nice game all around too. Didn't turn over the ball. Caleb threw a couple picks because Caleb was running for his life and trying to chuck it downfield into triple coverage. Just you shouldn't do it. I wouldn't be surprised if he was feeling woozy after getting sacked 7 times. Right? He was sacked 7 times, and he dropped back to pass 44 times. He was pressured on 26.
44?
Yes, they didn't run at all. So they dropped back to pass 44 times. He was pressured 27 of those times. 27. And I'm not talking like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Here comes a guy. I'm talking snap, here's a guy.
Oh,
Like it happens so often.
oh, I know that feeling.
There was actually 37 recorded pressures, but he was only pressured on 27 snaps. So that means he had multiple guys on him every time he dropped back. DeAndre Swift had 14 carries for 18 yards.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's even a thing. Oh, well. All I can say is the Bears went to Texas versus what is expected to be an AFC championship
It's gonna
contender.
be contender.
Held them to 19 and had a chance to win at the end. I'll
Yeah.
take it. Rookie
Yeah, they'll be
quarterback,
in.
I'll take it.
I'm not gonna let him get off that easy. The sky's not falling, but there were some plays that he could have made
Oh,
that he
Jesus
should have
Christ.
made.
Do you know how many times you can watch Patrick Mahomes and say, oh, he should have thrown that one right there? It happened. He shouldn't have thrown that one. It happens.
I'm not even
all
talking
the
about the
time.
ones I'm not talking about the ones that he shouldn't have thrown. I'm not talking about intercept. I'm
Sure.
talking about
There's always.
the misses, the
Yes.
underthrow. Like DJ Moore looked visibly upset.
The whole team should have been visibly upset to the point
I
of
know.
vomiting. So
I know, but what I saw DJ Moore is exactly what I saw Adam Thielen in his game,
Oh,
and Adam
Jesus
Thielen has
Christ.
Bryce. Bryce Young throw
So
the ball.
that's one is a terrible equivalency. And
I'm just saying, I saw DJ Moore take his helmet off in utter frustration, and I don't know what he was frustrated at. The only thing I could think of was the underthrown pass.
at one singular underthrown pass in a game where, oh boy, how many penalties do they have? The Bears, let's see. The Bears probably had, oh, it doesn't say on here how many penalties they had. I guarantee it was in the double digits, and I guarantee they were all offensive. So many false starts, so many holds. It was unreal, and they still got it. It was. But here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I find it remarkable how many people are already willing to declare things like bust and blah blah blah. That.
Oh no, I wouldn't say those.
But the amount of Bears fans who have to say, "I'm still all in on still." How can you not? Everybody was all in on Justin Fields for 3 years, right? your 2 games were already ready to abandon ship. I can't.
I get it.
I hate fandom.
I get it. These
How?
I only because there's like, oh no, I've seen this. I've seen this tape.
Well,
before.
yeah, the offensive line is definitely that, right?
I've seen this before. I got my hopes up. I see a defunct offensive line. I haven't seen in the regular season the level of play that I thought we were going to get. All I could think of.
Games.
True. But they're not thinking about the 2 games with Caleb Williams. He's not being judged as an individual football player.
I know.
He's being judged as a historic quarterback, which is unfair to him.
It's very unfair to him. And the people that are expecting like prime Peyton Manning or prime Tom Brady out there, and the guy has dropped back to pass less than 100 times in his career. Right? Mm-hmm. There's just got to be some level of leniency associated. And one is against a very good team, and one was his first game ever. Right? So what are you gonna do? Like, there's no reason. Now, if we're talking at the end of next season, we're still sitting here like this. We're like, oh, we got problems. I'm not worried about it. You could see the way that it was hard to see it on Sunday night because he was barely in the pocket ever. But when he was in the pocket, he looked good. He was recognizing defenses. He was calling out the coverages at the line for a second game. Good for him. But dudes weren't covering. There was no blocking. It is what it is. Now, like that's like, and you brought up Bryce Young. So let's talk about Bryce Young.
Not very good.
How terrible are the Panthers as just an organization?
They're bad.
I feel like this has been like we're coming up on a year of this. It feels like the Panthers come up at least once a week or every other week.
Because it's hard to figure it out. Like,
yeah,
like I don't know. Like, we're trying to figure out why Bryce Young is looking as bad as he looks.
Yes,
like. We don't know if it's lack of talent that he has around him. And I'm not talking, I'm talking about just me, like trying to figure out why that team is that bad and why they look bad. Like, I watched some of that game to try to look and see what's going. They could do nothing. They could not move the ball in any capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could. I think they got a field goal because they had short field position from a turnover. If I remember, like, I don't know. They didn't have a first down for a really long time. Like, and I don't know. I really don't know with him.
I don't know.
Well, now I don't think they know either. I think as people with this benching of him for Dalton, they're really got to understand. I think they're doing what we're doing, eliminating what it possibly could be. That's the reason why they're so bad. Because we're like, is it Bryce Young that's the reason why they're bad? Is it just everyone else? Like, they're going to take that equation out. Bryce, like he even said, it's not saying that Bryce won't come back and start. He just said, right now, we got to figure out what gives us the best opportunity to win, is what Dan Canales said. They're going to bring Dalton in. If Dalton looks like trash, which he's probably going to look better because he's been a professional longer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's he's seen every defense that a defense is going to throw at him,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in that regard, yes, he's going to look better. But if it isn't marketed, like you can see the difference, there's no reason to not go back to Bryce. You got to let him take his lumps.
You got to let him take his lumps. And if it's bad, pull him out at half.
Yes.
Pull Bryce out at
I
half.
see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like there's no reason to bench him. Other than if you've entirely lost faith in him. That's what it feels like to me.
I can see a reason to bench him, because there's a reason why you don't start those rookies if you have a legit vet.
But it's not even a rookie
right?
anymore. They let him get the
Correct.
crap kicked out of him last year.
That's where they made their mistake.
Yeah.
Like you look at Drake May in the Patriots. He is getting a year or whatever time they decide that they want to switch from Jacoby Brissett, but he's getting time to study how it takes to go about a week of play, of preparing for a defense, watching it. It's different when you're watching the guy who's going to start go out there and prepare versus Dalton, who's practicing as a backup, right? Mm-hmm. Even though he's the veteran, he's probably not doing the things that he would do as a starter, as a backup, right? Mm-hmm. It's your job. You're the starter. You're going to be the one probably asking questions, but I think it helps to see him because he never had this opportunity to see how a veteran prepares for the week, to see what he's doing, right? Because it's one thing, like Dalton, he can ask Dalton at the sideline, but Dalton's not in the game. Mm-hmm. Now Dalton gets to be in the game and gets to see and can talk to him. My hope is that they eventually go back to him sometime during the regular season, because if they don't, you might as well get rid of him. Mm-hmm. You can never go back to him. You're not going to let Dalton start the rest of the season and then have a competition to see who starts.
You can still go back to him because you have him for at least 4 years.
Yeah.
Right?
But go back.
I mean,
like,
you're not going to just...
Why?
Well,
you said...
What if he gets better?
We won't get to see it. You mean better in practice?
Well, I'm talking about okay, so let's say Andy Dalton, for whatever reason, finishes out the next 15 games, and then they go 6-9 in those 15 games, and they're 6-11 for the season, right? Mm-hmm. So what? That's still a bad season.
It's a bad season.
There's no reason that Bryce can't be the starter next year.
There's no reason. But why would you go back to him?
Because you have him. Because he's a talented.
I have him now.
Yeah,
I have him now, and we weren't winning with him.
Well, there's you can't. I don't think you can win with this team at all.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think you can either.
This team is bad across the board. Bad.
But if Dalton comes in and wins, do you see at the current pace right now with Bryce Young as quarterback, from what we've seen the last 2 weeks and even the year before that this is a 6-win Panther team?
No, I don't think
with Bryce Young back there.
I don't think they're a 6-win team with Andy Dalton.
Exactly.
They might.
But let's say they go out there and they win 6. Let's say they go out there and win 6 games with Andy Dalton. We don't see 6 games coming out. Why would you go back to Bryce Young?
Because it's a new year. He's a year older. He's got that chance to learn under Andy Dalton. Why would you not go back to him?
You got to see him. I got to see him though.
Well, okay.
I and practice isn't going to be good enough.
Yeah, but I understand. But that's all you have, right? If you're not going to come out then they're in the game. If this is their react, this feels like David Tepper intervening in his team.
This is definitely David Tepper intervening with the team.
The Panthers are the laughingstock of football, and
he can't take that.
And what happens is you get these things that pop up. Just a friendly reminder, this is what they gave up for Kip Bryce Young, right? And it's coming from Adam Schefter, right? It happens every week. Every week that's a talking point, right? So every time the Panthers lose, he's reminded about how they mortgaged their entire team to get Bryce Young. And instead of
Mm-hmm.
being patient, which is he's clearly not that sort of person, uh, instead of trying to build a team around him, they are, man, that team is devoid of any talent whatsoever. There's nothing. Uh, Chuba Hubbard was their number one offensive weapon. He had 64 yards on the ground.
They couldn't pass the ball.
They couldn't
Couldn't pass
throw
the
the
ball.
ball. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't stop the run. J.K. Dobbins had 131 yards on the ground. Gus Edwards had like those two guys combined for 70 years of life. I think they had 131 and 59. They had almost 200 yards between the two of them. Quentin Johnston had 2 touchdown catches. Old brick hands. That's how bad the Panthers are. The Panthers made Quentin Johnston look good.
Listen, he could be better now. Like I said, he could be
not.
better.
He's not. There's no way.
The only thing I thought of, first of all, I want to say, I knew it was not the coach's decision when the first thing he said at the interview was, "This was my decision."
Yeah. No, it's not.
That basically told me someone else told you to do this.
Because if he didn't say that up top, the first question would be, "Was this your decision?" So he had to come out and say it.
Had to come out there
instead of having to like.
That came like a coached response. All right, you got to swap. He's like, listen, are you seeing what Schefter's saying about us? We got to swap out Bryce Young right now. And if they ask you, just say that it was your decision. Don't mention us. Just own it. This is what we pay you the big bucks for.
Yep.
We just own this, and we'll keep it moving. So
I'm not afraid to fire a coach mid-season. I'll do it again if I have to.
I'm already still paying 2 coaches.
Yes.
A third doesn't mean anything.
That don't mean nothing to me.
Just dollars. I like winners. But
yeah.
That was number 1, right? Though this is just my thing. This is something that I never just like. What if they have Andy Dalton on the bench, right? They really want to showcase Bryce Young. They really want to go to Bryce Young, but there's a team who needs a quarterback. I want to say any names? Miami, right? What if they're just showcasing Andy Dalton so that they can then trade and get a 3rd round or 4th round pick for Dalton?
There's no world in which Andy Dalton gets a 3rd or 4th round because the Dolphins just picked up Snoop Huntley off of the practice squad.
But that's not Andy Dalton. That's not pro.
Snoop Huntley was a Pro Bowler.
So was Andy Dalton.
Snoop Huntley is only 26 years old, and he was a Pro Bowler last year or the year before.
Unless you're saying that he is going to be the guy that you're going to get rid of Tua, but if you just need someone to come in and salvage,
they have no intention of getting rid of Tua.
But that's what I'm saying. If you just need someone to come in and salvage a season so the season's not a loss, I'm taking Andy Dalton over.
I'll take Snoop Huntley over Andy Dalton every day of the week.
No, Andy Dalton's a much. No, we can do the numbers. Andy Dalton is a much better quarterback than Huntley is.
I'm going to do the biggest number possible here. Andy Dalton is 36, going on 37.
I only need him for 1 year. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. I only need him for 1 year. And if I can get a 4th, 5th, I need picks.
Yeah, you're not getting anything over like a late round swap
6
or a 7.
6.
Yeah, swapping of 6th or a late round 7th.
Let's say go out there. Andy Dalton goes out there, goes for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a loss. He's showing he still got it. Miami better pick up the phone.
Miami has no interest in Andy Dalton.
Then they don't have any. I like Andy Dalton. I like Andy Dalton.
There's no reason to like him. I mean, it might be a very likable person, but there's his time has come and gone. Like it's maybe he'll be this year's what's his face, but it's not happening.
He started 1 game last year.
Mm-hmm.
He played in 3 games. They have him for the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
In those 3 games, he went through for 361 yards. He didn't start any of them. 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
Okay.
He had a better rating than Definitely Bryce Young. Definitely Bryce
Most
Young.
anybody would, yeah.
But I'm like, man, you gotta throw that man out there. You gotta let him spread his wings. And I just like I said, I didn't see this anywhere, but I would just get him as trade bait. There's going to be a team that needs a quarterback. You have to go eventually. You're gonna have to go back to Bryce Young. I don't think they
Yeah.
can let Bryce Young sit on the bench this entire season.
They should have let him
Right?
sit
I
on the bench
don't.
last season, but they didn't.
They
They had
did.
a worse team they have now, and they still have the worst team in football by a mile. It's not even close. I know you were saying earlier
The
before the season
Patriots.
started,
I
it's
thought the
The
Patriots.
Patriots. Patriots look kind of tough. Not like
They looked.
not like we're gonna win 12 games tough, but they're gonna make
They're going to
they're gonna make
compete
every
every
game
single
difficult, like the
game,
Raiders were at the end of last year, right?
like the
There's
Raiders are
and
now.
are now. And there's something about it, right? There's something about that
The,
style of
the
play.
coach.
Yeah.
It's obvious. I think that was the X factor to the Patriots,
Mm-hmm.
right? A rookie coach who was a defensive coach, which we didn't think was going to matter because they already had a defensive coach.
Yep.
Where were they going to come up with the points, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. They didn't have the offensive players that I thought was going to do things, and I didn't know. But it's clear that Gerard Mayo has those guys playing,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're prepared, at least for the last two games we've seen. They have not been unprepared for the game.
No, they have not.
They've been prepared.
Yes,
They've
they have.
led in those games. They they don't look bad, and it hurts me to say that the Patriots aren't trash.
No, they aren't trash. They did the Seahawks to overtime this week, and they lost on a field with a field goal. They beat the Bengals the week before.
Bengals look absolute trash.
Yeah, the Bengals look bad.
They look trash. Joe Burrow, I don't care if y'all but they want to call him healthy or not. I saw somebody say Joe Burrow is getting the biggest pass from NFL fans that
God,
he
yeah.
thinks he's ever seen from a quarterback.
I agree, especially when guys like Lamar
Yes, that he's getting compared
Just
to,
get-
and people talking about
just get hounded on constantly. Like Joe, yeah, I agree. You said it last week that Joe Burrow, you didn't think was a good quarterback. He had that one lightning in a bottle season, and I think that's what he is. I think he's adequate. He hasn't
I
done
think he is
anything.
too.
He hasn't done anything that makes me go, boy. If I had to start a team right now and I had my pick of any quarterback, it'd be Joe Burrow. It is.
He's not a top five quarterback, which many people have him
No.
had him preseason, beginning of the season.
I'll tell you
right?
who is C.J. Stroud. C.J.
C.J.
Stroud.
Stroud is in that list.
C.J.
Yes.
Stroud is top 5. Josh Allen is top 5.
Josh Allen is top 5.
Mahomes is top 1. Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson's top 5. And then I don't know who the fifth one is.
Listen, if Dak doesn't throw up a stinker, I think Dak's
Yeah.
a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, I agree.
Talent wise,
Dak
I
is
think he's
a
a
guy
top.
that's either he vacillates between being the top quarterback in the league to
And
being
somewhere in the top 10
to
somewhere.
being like somewhere in the top 10, maybe top 15, right? It's like it just depends on the
Correct.
week, and
It
if
really
it's and if
does.
it's the playoffs.
Yeah, the top. Oh yeah, this is regular season numbers. This is definitely not playoff.
Yeah, regular
he's
season
not-
Dak, he's godly, man.
Yeah.
He walks on water.
All right. Speaking of another quarterbacks I dislike,
Yes.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. They're bad.
Trevor-
They're real
They
bad.
are
I'm
bad.
starting to feel bad that I stuck up for him. It's like, he's a good quarterback. Maybe he's not. Maybe I just fooled by the long hair and the horse-like
Everyone's been-
features. What's that?
Everyone's been fooled.
Yes.
I think everyone's been fooled, and I don't get it. I don't get it. His numbers, and we're just let's say take numbers. I know we get too. Sometimes I personally get too caught up on numbers.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to.
He doesn't look good.
14
like,
for 30
during
for
the
220
game.
yards this last week with a fumble, but he didn't lose it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe he's just mediocre. He made, comparatively speaking. So, boy, this was a real quarterback battle. We had Deshaun Watson versus the for the Browns, and Trevor Lawrence for the Jags. Final score 18-13.
Yeah, he got sacked in the end zone on a play that just throw the ball away.
Watson 22 of 34 for 186. Trevor Lawrence 14 to 30 for 220. Those are just numbers, right? Neither of them threw a touchdown. Neither of them threw a pick. Neither of them turned over the ball. They both got sacked a handful of times. And the Browns won by default, I guess. I didn't see the game. I didn't see any
Neither did
highlights
I.
from it.
I saw that sack. That's all I saw was him running around and getting stacked in the end zone
Jerome
for
Ford had
safety.
a nice game, 7 carries for 64 yards. But I think the Jags, I guess they're just bad. Did they fool everybody for a year?
I heard somebody said, "How come the Jags are always the worst coach team in the league?" I'm like, man, did Doug Peterson start to stink? Like what happened?
Maybe he did. Yeah, I mean, so let's just go on the list. We had Bills and Dolphins on Thursday. Wasn't close. Bills blew out the Dolphins. Tua bounced his head off the turf again, right? Rough. God bless America. I feel so
fencing
bad for that
again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something about it though. It's the fact that his concussions look worse than everyone else's.
Everyone else's concussions.
Other people are getting concussed too. They're getting up. They're walking to the bench. They're going under the tent.
Yes.
They get ruled out concussion. Yes. Right? Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
His concussions look life-threatening.
Yes. Every one of them. Every one of them. Even the ones where he gets up afterwards and then throws 7 balls into the ground after that because to keep him out there. Remember that one last year where he basketball.
That's the one he could two in basically. That's the one
it was 2 years ago, right? He basketball bounced his head off the ground. You're like, oh no! And then he still kept playing. He like he can't even stand up straight. They're like, oh, he's fine. He throws 6 balls over everybody's head and then one's a pick, and then he gets concussed again. After that, in the same game, you're just like, oh my god! I hope the dude's okay. I hope. Yep. If he's physically able to play football and he wants to, he does. But holy cow, you fear it's almost like remember it and I know this was the conversation because he ran headfirst into Damar Hamlin's chest. Right? Damar Hamlin didn't even hit him. Damar Hamlin was almost stationary until it ran into him and concussed him. But we're still in that every time Damar Hamlin gets hit, oh no, is the 1 in a billion going to happen again? The thing with Tua is concussions aren't 1 in a billion.
Aren't 1 in a billion. And they happen once and then they keep it.
It's like, oh no, is it going to happen on this one? And boy, I don't want to see anybody die on a football field.
No.
I don't want to see anybody die. I don't want to watch somebody die ever, right? Yeah. I don't have to.
But I'm watching football and I don't really want to see that.
I don't want that. I don't want that. Anyway, the Bills look good and they smoked the Dolphins in Miami. Miami looked like they were ill prepared.
Yes.
The Saints smoked the Cowboys in Dallas. What is so? Passing touchdowns are down unless your name is Derek Carr.
Yes,
they scored 44 points again. They scored in the 40s again.
They could not stop anything that they did.
Alvin Kamara went insane.
Drew Brees. See, I called him Drew Brees. Yep. Derek Carr went insane. They could not stop anything. CeeDee Lamb didn't have a bad game.
No.
As an individual player, he did not have a bad game. Yep. But once again, Jerry waited too long. He had to go back out there with Ezekiel Elliott. They don't have a legit running back, and they can't do anything.
I will Venmo you $100 if you can tell me who the top rusher for Dallas was without looking it up right now.
They only have 3. I know all 3 of their running backs. I didn't look at all. Right? So,
I guarantee you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 different people carried the ball for Dallas.
All right, that's including Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott was their 3rd leading rusher at 2 carries for 12 yards. Brandon Cooks was their 6th leading rusher, 1 carry, -3 yards.
So it's got to be Rico, right? The backup.
Oh, it was Rico Dowdle.
See, I know every single one of them.
The name Rico Dowdle, I had never heard of it until I looked at it right now. 7 carries, 30 yards.
I drafted him in 2 fantasy football leagues because I don't trust Ezekiel Elliott.
Zeke, 6'16". Dak, 212. Deuce, 4'11".
I'm going to say, I know all 3 of them. Deuce was the 3rd running back.
Who's Cavante Turpin?
Oh, he's their special teams guy.
1 carry for 2 yards. They had 21 carries, 68 yards on the ground. On the flip side, Alvin Kamara had 20 carries for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, give him the ball right now. He's going to run another touchdown.
Oh my gosh.
They couldn't tackle him. They
Are
couldn't
are
cover
the
him.
Saints good? I think so. I think they have to be,
They're
right?
not bad.
I mean the first week
They're far
they
from
played the
bad.
Panthers the first week, right?
And that's what we thought. We assumed that the Panthers were really bad,
Yeah. They
right?
put up 40 on the Panthers, no big deal. I mean, I put up 40. I could put up 40 on the Panthers. They put up
You
40
put
on the
40
Cowboys in Dallas.
and it could have been 50.
Yeah.
They stopped. It was 28 points in the half.
Yeah.
They slowed down.
Yeah. Yeah. They had 35 at the half.
35 at half. They could have really, really embarrassed them.
They should have. Well, I mean, they did embarrass them. They should have really.
They did
really
embarrass them, but it could have been worse. And I as much as I feel sorry for, this is the year that Micah Parsons, he's fighting for a contract.
Yes.
He has got to show that he is more than just.
Well, he
a sack
he
getter.
can't stop 44 points.
He can't stop 44 points, but they don't look good when all right. So if I said the Cowboys defense is trash, no one's gonna say, but not Micah Parsons. They're gonna immediately think that the Cowboys defense is trash and Micah Parsons is.
I'm gonna tell you what. Every other person's able to compartmentalize that for every other high end rusher.
True. That they are. But when you think of that defense, you think of Micah Parsons.
Oh yeah, he's the heart and soul.
You don't think of Lawrence. You don't think of Diggs. I know fans might. We're not talking about the Cowboy fan that knows every player on the defense. We're talking about the average fan that watches football. When they see 19 or when they see that they gave 44 points, they're like, "What did Micah do? Why did he help?" Like if you're that good, that's what they're seeing, and that's what he's gonna have to deal with. He's gonna look and say, "These are my stats. This is why you should pay me."
Well,
they're gonna say,
if I'm a general manager, and he's a free agent, and I'm a general manager, it's a blank check. How can it not be?
But he won't be a free agent. They're not. They'll just.
I know, but I'm saying like, if he's a free agent, it's a blank check, and Jerry's gonna do what Jerry does. Whatever.
Well, next year Mike is gonna hold out.
Yeah,
if he doesn't get a contract, he's gonna hold out,
as he should.
And they got some problems next year, but we're still talking about this year.
That team's all problems. They're problems this year. Then we had the Bucks going to the Lions and beating the Lions 2016. Dan Campbell at the end of the first half, and
Dan Campbell's every time.
Yeah, they had a 10-second runoff, and they didn't get a chance to get their field goal. And he took the blame for it. Your coach blew it for him. You did.
But he takes the blame for it at least once or twice a year.
I know. I'm not defending the dude.
It's his that's the thing when you're the direct cause of 2 or 3 losses or 2 losses a year.
Yes.
That's not good.
No, it's not. You are right.
Just step out the way. Just
get out of your own way.
Yeah.
But Baker looked good.
He looked okay. He won the game. He was able to manage the game. I think he only had 150 yards. He didn't look as good as he did.
1-1. Chris Godwin went up for 117 and a touchdown. He had a nice game.
They were able to control, and that's I think the mark of a team that's possibly good. Even when they're not playing their best, they can still win a game.
But I mean, here's the thing: they're going against a very good Lions team on the road. Yep. So they only put up 20 against a very good team. They kept a very good team to only 16 because Jared Goff did not look good. No touchdowns, 2 picks. Amon-Ra had 100 yards.
Okay game, this time
J-Mo
around.
had 80 yards. But Laporta didn't do nothing. They didn't really run the ball that well. I mean,
Goff didn't look. He was okay.
Whatever.
Man, I don't think Todd Bowles gets enough credit because he's just a silent, quiet type. He doesn't say much at all.
Bucks might be good. Now we're talking about the NFC South, which everybody thought was maybe the worst team in worst division.
Now they have one of the worst teams in history.
Well, yes. But the Saints and the Bucks are both looking good. It's only 2 weeks, but they're both looking pretty good after 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of looking good, it's not the Colts. They're 0-2. Anthony Richardson once again. I think he was like 8 for 20 or something like that for what? Like I don't know. Is he good?
He's
I can't.
he's gonna have those games like that where he goes 8 for
But it's
20
all of
for
them so
200
far.
for 200 yards though, because the
Yeah.
passes that he did connect on were 70-yard
My bad. He
bombs.
was 17 for 34. So right at 50%. 200 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 3 picks.
That's not good.
And Malik Willis gets his first NFL win leading the Green Bay Packers
Mm-hmm.
on the
Oh
road
yeah.
at that too.
Oh yeah.
Now, or no, they were at home. I'm sorry, they were at home. Here's the thing: Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Packers, is very good at being a head coach, and I really hate it. I really hate it. Like I think he might be one of the 3 best coaches in the NFL.
He's good. He's good.
God, is he good? Malik Willis didn't do anything other than not
Doesn't
lose
have
the
to
game.
do. Not doesn't have to. This is what you do when you're backup quarterbacks in the game.
He didn't lose the game for him. He played nice. And the
Mhm.
Packers won, and it makes me so angry.
You had him 0-6 from here.
I said there's no way they're going to win. Oh, God. Hopefully they'll go 1-5 then. The Jets go to Tennessee. Will Levis is the hell out of that game. And Aaron Rodgers gets his first official. I guess that first game counted as a win for him because he was a starter for. He started the game, played 5 snaps, and they won. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in the win column.
That team is still getting to know how each other needs to play and things like that. They probably will be better, but I don't think we could use the last 2 weeks as real litmus because they haven't looked that great. Who is that backup running back who
Braylon
went
Allen,
for
I was
like
just going to bring up. Dude's only like 20.
yeah, the youngest player to run a touchdown since like they said like forever.
But he had one last week. Now, this last week he was the youngest person to ever have 2 touchdowns in a game. So at this current pace, he's going to have 17 touchdowns in week 17, and he'll be the youngest person, not just the youngest, but he'll be the only person to ever score 17 touchdowns, 16 touchdowns. He'll have so many touchdowns at the end of this season.
I don't even know who the guy is.
I think he was from Wisconsin, Iowa.
Well, I know he's available in the Guillotine League, and I'm just debating on whether I'm getting him or not.
Yeah,
dude had him on the bench. He had him on the bench.
Yeah, he did, and it kept you alive. Speaking of staying alive, we already talked about Darnold and beating the 49ers. The damn Vikings are 2-0. 49ers look bad.
You talk about there's a lot of injuries at different positions this year so far.
Yes.
And most of them are coming at the wide receiver position. They are now Deebo Samuel's on IR, I believe.
Yep.
C-Mac, IR.
Yep.
Brock Purdy's going to have to earn every dime.
Yeah.
If Brandon Ayuk, you got paid.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go out there and earn it. I think their running back is, was it Morgan? Is that his name?
That sounds right.
But
what's his name that filled in? Yeah, Mason,
Yeah.
Jordan Mason. He's still at 100 yards on the ground.
No, I think because of Kyle Shanahan's style of play, he's going to suffice. They've just got to figure out how to score.
Yeah.
They have, like, in that red zone area, he loves to use Deebo and he loves to use C-Mac, and now he doesn't have those weapons. Brandon Ayuk, not so much down there in the red zone. So they're just going to have to figure something out. Kittle had
a great game. 76 yards and a touchdown. I mean, like if you just look at numbers, Purdy 319 and a touchdown and a pick. Mason 100 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Deebo 110. Kittle 76 and a touchdown. Ayuk 43. Like they had a nice production number wise. They had a good fantasy week. They had lost 23-17.
17.
They only scored 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Against the Vikings team that is.
I'll tell you what.
I don't know if they're that good. They're okay.
Listen, I watched the Giants play that Vikings team, and I didn't want to say it because the Giants look bad. That Vikings defense looked really good.
Yeah.
They picked up some players in the offseason that I did not remember. They got Stephen Gill. They got some other weapons. They got that defensive end that almost killed that took that pass from DJ to the house.
Oh, yeah.
He used to play on Tennessee, Van something. they changed up their defense, and their defense is better.
Yes.
Along with the offensive line that can't
Yes.
that doesn't give up any pressure. They're a better team than I thought they were at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
And Jordan Addison and things coming back.
He's hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I still don't want to give them any credit. They stink. But they
Yep.
beat the 49ers, and they're 2-0 for some reason.
2-0. Yep.
That won't last forever. Seahawks, we talked about the Seahawks and the Patriots going into overtime. Geno is still good. Patriots are better than anyone would have ever
Expected.
imagined them to be, at least 2 games in. We
Mm-hmm.
talked Giants and Commanders. We talked tangentially about the Panthers and the Chargers. They lost 26 to
There's
3.
nothing.
There's
There's
nothing
nothing to talk about. This is nothing to talk. I did see. Oh, this. I'm just watching stupid stuff. A guy bet 15,000 to win 16,000 that they would score a touchdown in that game.
about.
He lost $15,000 because the Panthers couldn't score
Yeah,
one touchdown.
So when we were doing the fantasy drafts and stuff, people were taking Panthers players. I'm like, why? I don't understand. Like, what are you guys seeing that I'm not? Whatever.
Well, you think they're an NFL team, right? You think somebody's got to put up legit NFL numbers. They're proven to not quite be an NFL team.
No, they're not good. We talked a little bit Browns Jags, but Browns beat the Jags on the road. Trevor Lawrence bad. Deshaun Watson bad. Raiders beat the Ravens 26-23.
After Lamar said that the worst game they played was going to be week 1, they then played a worse game in week 2 than they did in week 1.
At home, they laid a clunker out there. Raiders are a pesky defensive team.
Very good on defense. I think once again they come to play for their coach. Their coach has them prepared. And they yeah, it's hard to gauge that because I don't think they have the talent.
No.
Devontae Adams looks like he's upset at Gardner Minshew every single time, but yeah, they don't have the talent, but they compete and they're in the game every game.
Yep.
So they're going to be a tough out for any team all year.
The score was 9-6 at halftime. The Ravens were up. 26-23 final.
And you have to know if the score is 9-6, the Raiders we got them right where we want them.
Yeah, within a field goal. Like that's so.
And
yeah, whatever. Of all the 0-2 teams right now, the one I'm least worried about is the Ravens. But the one that's like, oh, you better start turning around, Ravens. Because
but they're fortunate enough the Cincinnati Bengals don't look great. They could probably go in there and beat the Browns any day of the week that they want to. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are the 2-0 team. And although they have a really good defense and they're probably not going to lose games like they did before, they're still beatable.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
they only scored 13 points against the Broncos this last week.
They're not 0-2 looking up at the 2-0 Chiefs.
No.
Right? That would be scary.
Yes.
Right?
That'd be something to be worried about. You're right.
That'd be something to be worried about.
They're not even 0-2 looking up at the 1-1 Cardinals, who put up 41 against the Rams this week.
After saying it's not my job to get Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball, Kyler promptly got Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball quickly.
It's not his job to feed Marvin Harrison, but it is his priority to do it, and he did that.
He did that.
Kyler Murray had a perfect passer rating this week. Kyler Murray played an outstanding game at home against the Rams.
Did I talk? I didn't talk bad about Kyler Murray on this in this particular forum.
No.
In our group chat, I think that's when I was talking bad about him, and he made me eat crow immediately.
Yes. He if you remember, if we go back to the season predictions, he is my MVP
Comeback
pick.
player? He's your MVP?
MVP pick, Kyler Murray. I also have the Arizona Cardinals winning the NFC West. We'll see.
You do?
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. He had a great game this week. It's only 2 weeks, but he had a great game. 17-21, 266, 3 touchdowns.
James Conner's they've got a solid runner game
too. Touchdown. Kyler Murray also ran for 60. Marvin Harrison Jr. 130 and 2 touchdowns. He did them all. That was all in the first quarter, I think. But don't matter. Don't matter if you spread it out over 4 quarters. You get all in one. You get them. You get them. They look good though against the Rams. The Rams
I heard I heard Marvin Harrison Jr. say, "Yeah, I looked at the stat sheet. He only had 4 incompletions,
And they were all
and they
throws
were
to him.
all me. They
Yes.
were all throws to me."
Yep. And he's
He's
like,
like, "I got to make that. I got to fix that."
the Rams are 0-2. Cooper Kupp's going to IR. Puka Nakua's going to IR. I don't know what they have.
Kyron, still
That's
good.
it.
That's it. That's it.
What if the Rams trade Matt Stafford to the Raiders
To Miami
or to Miami or somewhere? Yeah.
Whew.
Matt
That'd
Stafford
be
in
good.
Miami would be scary as all hell
It would be very
because
scary.
he's still a top tier
A
quarterback.
dangerous quarterback. Yes, it would be. But what are you getting for him? A second? You're probably not going to give him first.
You'd ask for a second.
You'd ask for him,
You'd
yeah.
have to. You'd probably get something similar to the Aaron Rodgers trade because you're not going to get the 3 firsts that you gave up to get him the first time. The Rams did. I mean,
Well, that's fine. They got a championship.
they got
out
their
of it.
Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah.
But the Rams might want to investigate that because this season's gone. And if this season is gone, I think McVay's gone.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
McVay's ready.
I don't think he wants
He's
to
ready.
stick around for a rebuild. So if
I told you, McVay's waiting until Andy Reid decides he's ready to turn the hand that whistle over.
here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Let's say after this season, McVay says, "I'm done," and the Bears,
The Cowboys would give you whatever the Bears is going to offer him, triple that, and the Cowboys will offer it to him.
I would love for the Bears to do that. As much as I like Matt Eberflus's defense, I like the idea of a whole team winning.
Of a solid offense.
Yeah.
A solid offense.
Steelers go to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, but I'm saying I think if he's out, there's not a number that Jerry wouldn't try to go over to get him.
Well, the thing is, you'd have to trade for him because
Yes, because of the
2
years
left
he's got
on
years
his
on his
deal.
contract.
And if he's like, I do not want to rebuild, please let me go for my contract or trade me somewhere. The idea of trading for a head coach is still bonkers to me.
Not like it hasn't been done before. That's how
No.
the Broncos wind up getting.
But we're not the Broncos because they got beat by the Steelers 13-6 at home. Bo Nix looked like another rookie quarterback, and Justin Fields had a nice game.
Just a decent game.
He had a nice game. He had 2 enormous pass plays called back for holding that were, and it's just like, which feels like my 3 years of talking about Justin Fields. Yeah, he had a nice game. He was okay. He had a tough game, except for the ones that didn't count. Yeah, the ones that didn't count.
They were beautiful.
Yep. Bengals lose to the Chiefs in Kansas City on a last-second field goal. Now I know there's a lot of hemming and hawing about the way the Chiefs got into field goal range. I'm gonna tell you what, that was textbook defensive pass interference. There's no way you can't call that. The dude ran through Rashee Rice like the way Rashee Rice ran his car through cars and traffic, right?
Oh, no.
He got run over. The ball was not near him, got run over. In fact, he was hit so hard and moved so far out of position that the ball bounced off the defender's helmet because the defender was now in this position where Rashee Rice was supposed to be. That's pass interference.
It was pass interference.
That flag
100% pass.
should be thrown 100 out of 100 times.
But it's not. The problem isn't the fact that the refs made the right call, because they did.
Yes.
100% made the right call. It's the fact that everyone watching that game
knew there was going to be a penalty.
Everyone knew there was going to be a penalty there.
Here's what happened. When they got to, what was it, 4th and 16, I'm like,
that was it.
I'm like, okay. I walked away. I'm like, I don't need to watch this. I was watching. I had it on my iPad at the kitchen table. I got up. I went over to the kitchen to start preparing dinner, or finish preparing dinner, or whatever I was doing. I'm like, I don't need to see it. And I walked back and they'd won. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was only gone for 3 minutes.
I watched it knowing exactly what was going to happen. I knew exactly what was going to happen.
How is that even humanly possible? And the fact that the Bengals and the Kansas Cities have played like 3 times over the last 3 years, and every game's been decided by a single field goal. The only time the Bengals won was the time it was the AFC Championship game
Yep.
in your Joe Burrow love fest season. And then
My,
finally Monday night, stunner slash stinker, the Falcons come back to beat the Eagles 22-21 in Philadelphia.
yep. Yeah. Yeah. It was. I will tell you. You know how you said you turned away from the game.
Yes.
I will tell you. I watched the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
I saw fourth quarter. The Eagles have the ball. Game's over. They are marching the ball downfield.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon Barkley catches a pass and trucks a guy
Mm-hmm.
for the first down. They are now on maybe the 20.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were in the red zone.
Yeah.
First down. I cut the game off.
Good
Game
call.
was over, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Game was over, in my
Should have
opinion.
been.
There's no reason for you to lose this game. I think they might have had 2 minutes and 30 something. It was something really close to the game being over.
The Falcons had no timeouts left. There was a minute 30 or minute 40 left on the clock.
After they burned their timeouts. When I left, they had timeouts left because
The
they
clock
burned
is running, right? Yeah. The Eagles have 3rd and 3 from like the 8. Instead of handing off the ball to ensure that the clock continues to run, because all they have to do is just let
40-second run off,
and then kick the field goal, and be
then
done.
they got 40 seconds to run. The amount of time that they gave you to come down the field, you would have given them
even less. Instead, they passed to Saquon Barkley, who was wide open on the right side of the field.
He's been known to.
If he catches this pass, it's easily
a touchdown.
First down.
Okay,
it's
probably,
more than likely a touchdown. And the game is
out.
definitely over at this point. Instead, he drops the pass.
He drops it.
It stops the clock.
They kick a
have
field
to
goal
kick
to
a
go
field goal,
5.
and there's a minute 30 left.
Do they have to? Yes, because if they don't kick a field goal, they're only up 2, and 2 would allows them to kick it. Because I'm like, why not go for it on 4th down?
Yes.
But no, they have to kick a field goal so they can be up 5.
Yes. They give the ball back to the Falcons. It took the Falcons 3 plays to score a touchdown.
I thought it was 4.
4 plays, whatever it was.
There was one incomplete pass on the drive, but besides that, it was like a pass to Pitts for 10 yards. It was like and 2 passes to London that wound up being just touchdowns. And then there was one incomplete pass, I think, thrown in the middle somewhere, something like that.
Okay, I'm sorry. It was a 6-play, 70-yard drive.
Yeah, okay.
1st and 10, Cousins pass short middle to Pitts for 11 yards. 1st and 10, pass deep left to Mooney for 21 yards. 1st and 10 at the 38, deep left to Mooney, ran out of bounds at the 12. 1st and 10 at the 12, Cousins pass short left to Drake London, pushed out of bounds at the 7. Kirk Cousins pass incomplete short middle to Ryan McLeod, and then Kirk Cousins short left to Drake London for 7-yard touchdown.
Touchdown.
The penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct, 15 yards of force between whatever. Yes. They just marched. It took a total of a minute, I guess a minute 39. No, they got the ball.
No, they got the ball and gave it back with 38 seconds left.
Yes, and they scored with 34 seconds left. They kick it off to the Eagles. Now, here's why I was ready to text you, because before the previous Eagles drive, you were up by half a point.
I didn't know.
In the Guillotine League, where
I had given up earlier in the day after, I don't know what game it was, and my guys I was like, okay, this is bad. I'm not scoring a lot of points this week.
Now the Eagles only moved the ball 29 yards to get their field goal, right? Because the Falcons went for it.
Yeah. On the other, yep.
So,
and it was stopped, a good stop.
So I'm
too.
like, oh man, Harland's up by half a point. He might still get this if they just hand off to Saquon the rest of the way. And Jalen Hurts isn't getting points. Jalen Hurts throws a pass for like 11 yards. What happens in this drive? Barkley, Hurts pass short left to Goddard for 16 yards. That was like an extra point, and you were down. You were now down, and then Hurts ran too. Nope, just that one pass put you down. So you were down by like 0.2 of a point.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no. And then when he threw that pass to Barkley and he dropped it, I was like, Oh my! Because if he catches that, you were totally lost.
I'm done.
You
Yeah.
were done. But because he dropped it, and the Falcons proceeded to march down and score in less than a minute, it gave the Eagles a chance.
Gave
Jalen
Hurts
Hurts a
one
chance
more
to throw
time
an
with the
interception.
ball.
And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, if Hurts throws a pick or drops a ball, loses a fumble, Harlan's going to win this. Harlan's not going to get eliminated in the Guillotine League. And lo and behold, like he heard me thinking this, Jalen Hurts throws an interception. Eagles lose. Harlan avoids elimination in the Guillotine League.
For 1 week, it'll happen
For
next
1
week.
Yeah.
But that's all I got to do is keep avoiding elimination.
You just
That's
got to not be the least scoring team of the week.
I
couldn't
I
believe
will
it.
tell you, I didn't realize it until later on that night when I got a text message that said, or a message from the guillotine said, the chop has been had.
Yeah.
And it was Brad. I said, what?
Yes.
What? Not me? I knew it was me.
Yes.
All day. All day I knew it was me. Once AJ Brown got injured and I was like, I had LeGarrette from Carolina Panthers in the 0 points. 0 points.
Yeah.
For him.
If you're hinging your hopes on a Panther,
It's not hindering my hopes. I had no other
I know you had nothing.
options. I had nothing.
I was stunned and flabbergasted that because I was watching all day. Once I was safe, I was like, okay, I'm going to see because there's these 4 teams at the bottom and Harlan's one of them. And then going into that final game, you were the elimination line. I was like, no, this is not looking good.
Listen,
Good enough.
when you told me that I was down on the last drive, I didn't know. I'd already given up. I had not watched it, and I would have been losing my mind. I probably would have lost.
An interception is a negative 2 points, right? You won by 1.8 or something like that.
Yeah.
That interception is literally what did it.
Yeah, I would. If I was looking, I'd have lost. I'm glad I turned it off.
That's the way it goes. Yes. Barkley would have caught that pass and turned around to the camera and said, "That's for you, Harland." He gave you the finger.
Why would you do that, Mr. Barkley? Why would you do that?
He'd do it. He's ruthless.
I don't understand. Sometimes, I honestly think that Sirianni is playing himself out of a job, coaching himself out of a job.
Could be.
Oh, but I did hear something. I saw something like watching a video, and they were saying how the play he was calling, he never actually meant to call the passing play. He tried to get the defensive line to jump so that they can get the free play. The defensive lineman does jump. He does cross the neutral zone. All they needed was the left tackle to stand up when he crossed the neutral zone to kind of incite it to basically saying he jumped, so therefore I jumped. He didn't do it, which was the play. And Nick Sirianni mouths, they did exactly what we wanted him to do, but you weren't paying attention. So they immediately call a timeout because they don't get the play. And then he goes and does that. He calls the play that caused them the game. But the play they did before that was just strictly to get him to jump. The guy jumps and they don't pounce on it. Everyone, you can see everyone mad at the guy who doesn't do it because it's just weird. I think it was a good play call. It just didn't work out. The play after that was the bad play.
There's no reason to pass the ball in that play. But
horrible play. That's a horrible play.
Because they didn't have no timeouts. You just run it down. Whatever. And then there's also a strategy of just running in the opposite direction and avoiding everybody for 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Well, it was like a minute, so it would been really.
Yeah, it was a lot of time when it would have been the Bo Jackson Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, where he's just zigzagging up and down the whole length of the field.
Yeah,
everybody's just diving behind him. All right, we need to talk about this week. Just so you know, I won week 1, 10-8. You won week 2, 8-7, which is should not be a brag for either one of us because you were only 50% on picks. I was less.
Yeah, listen, it wasn't very good for us.
Now this week, Thursday night, which originally probably was like, oh boy, now it's
guarantee.
Oh boy, we got the Patriots going to the Jets, the new look Patriots.
But I gotta say the Jets are a better team. I
Yes.
have to go to Jets.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers is old, and it's a 4 day turnaround.
Yeah. Oh, you just talked me into the Patriots.
I don't think I have to do much talking to you to go against Aaron Rodgers. I think
The Jets are 6.5-point favorites. I just don't see how the Patriots just don't allow people to score. Then we got the Bears going to Indianapolis. Indianapolis, the 0-2 Colts are negative.
They should win this
1
game.
point favorites. I feel this.
The Bears should win this one.
I feel this is a Bears game. Now, here's something I wanted to bring up. The Bears had so much trouble running the ball this last week. They could not move the ball. Just terrible. Now, I had a stat here. The most rushing yards per game allowed this season. The Colts with 237 a game. The Panthers, 199.
237 a game?
Yes. That's so many points. So many yards, rushing yards. The Panthers are allowing 199.5 points a game, and the Rams are allowing 197 yards a game. So, rushing. Guess who the next 3 opponents the Bears have? I'm not even kidding. It goes Colts, Rams, Panthers.
Yeah. So they should run the ball.
I hope to God they figure out how to run the ball. Then we have your New York Football Giants going to the mistake of the lake and facing the Browns.
Listen, if I go 0-16 on Giants, pick 17, I don't care. I'm picking the Giants every time. Giants.
All right. Well, I learned my lesson from last week. I'm going Browns.
Are you going to pick Deshaun Watson? You're going to go pro Deshaun
I
Watson?
can't go pro Deshaun Watson, but it's so hard to go pro Giants.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe there'll be an indictment or something before that game.
That's possible. It's a civil trial. So.
That's as likely. It's almost like DeMar Hamlin or Tua, right? You're just waiting for it. Packers go to Tennessee to face the Will Levis mistakes.
Packers for their second win with Malik.
I can't. This is the Malik Willis comeback tour here. He gets to go to the team that traded him off for dead. I got to go the Titans. I have to go the Titans because
You're going to go pro Malik, not pro Malik. The other Will Levis, you're going to go pro Will Levis.
I have to.
He's made 2 of the worst mistakes I've ever seen a
they've been
quarterback
really
make
bad.
in back-to-back weeks.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Sometimes it happens. But you ain't going to get me 3 times in a row. I think the Titans win this game somehow, probably on defense.
Okay.
The Vikings host the Texans.
This is a tough pick. It's tough, but oh my God, I want to say Houston. I want to say Houston fast, but I don't know.
I'm saying Houston fast.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is very good.
But that defense is no slouch by Minnesota, and that offensive line is good enough to give Darnold time.
I'm going to tell you what.
They have Singletary, though.
After watching the Texans bully the Bears, and not just on the field, but it was all over the place. It was on the sidelines. Like this
when he smacks Rashawn Johnson's head.
Yeah. So Rashawn Johnson's like, "Hey, don't run into me, bro." Guy stands up and punches him in the face. Right? So here's the thing. The Texans are a nasty team, I think, on the defensive side. Like in the good way and also the bad way. And I think that's the kind of thing that will make Darnold see ghosts in the backfield. So that's why I'm going Texans. Plus, CJ Stroud is just really.
I want to go Texans as well. Until they prove that, I'm going to go Texans. Yeah.
Now here's an interesting game. The New Orleans Saints are hosting the Eagles.
Not that interested to me. New Orleans is putting up 40 points on this. The Eagles' defense is bad.
Yeah,
it is bad, and it has been bad for a year and a half now.
There is a chance. So the total, the over-under for this game is only 49.5. The Saints are averaging 40 points a game. Like 44 points a game. And New Orleans is only a 2.5-point favorite. At home.
because no one really thinks that they could put up 44 again. Or, but I don't know if
I
this
think that's the
defense
real question. I think the Saints will win, but will they
will
score
they.
40 again? That's a lot of
The
points.
Philly can't stop a running back.
Yeah.
They can't
Oh,
stop a running back.
Alvin Kamara
Alvin
proved that he's a
Kamara
running back last
is
week.
he's a running back, and then they can't catch anyone over the top. They can't stop. They couldn't stop Drake London.
No.
And there's no way. I don't even know. Chris Olave's trash, but there's no way they're going to be able to stop what Derek Carr, whatever he's doing.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't think it's going to happen this week. I think the Saints win. All right.
Yes, Saints.
Chargers. The 2-0 Chargers
Mm-hmm.
versus the 2-0 Steelers. The Pittsburghs are 1-point favorites at home. The total on this game is only 35.5.
It won't hit it. They won't hit the 30. They won't hit the 35.
I don't think so either. I think the Chargers and Steelers win 13-12 or something like that.
Yep. Pitt wins in a low scoring game.
Yeah. I feel that way too. I saw a picture of the Chargers offense. I am not kidding you. They had 9 guys on the line.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, he's still in college, man.
Yeah.
He's still in college. He's it's gonna take him a while to adjust that I'm not in college anymore.
Yeah. All right. Bo
I actually have a real quarterback.
they have a great quarterback. They have
Mhm.
I know you don't like Herbert as much as I do. I think
He's
Herbert,
better than JJ McCarthy.
Oh,
I can say
God,
I
yeah.
can say that.
Yes. Herbert is a legit stud quarterback. And I don't know. Quentin Johnson caught 2 touchdown passes last week. The Bo Nixes go to the Buccaneers. The 0-2.
They going to Tampa?
They're going to Tampa, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's Al. That's a loss.
I know there's
Tampa Bay.
it's chalk. It's going to be chalk along. Like, how can you choose the Broncos to win?
Nope.
I saw somebody post online on Saturday, right? So it was before the games. Some dude in college, I can't remember who it was, receiver had a huge game. And somebody posted, the Broncos select with the 31st pick in the NFL draft this guy. And I laughed like you. I read it and I laughed like you. One, because they're picking the Broncos to go to the Super Bowl and lose. And this was a Broncos fan.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, right. Then we have, it doesn't, I'll just mark you down for Raiders.
Yes. Just I'm about to say from here on out, every week, if Carolina's on one side, I'm picking the other team.
Yes.
I don't care who it is.
The Raiders,
unless it's Carolina.
The Raiders' offense is anemic, right? The Raiders' offense is not great. They're still 5.5-point favorites against the Panthers. Which, see, I wonder if that line's gone down since Andy Dalton became
Andy Dalton.
It was probably 13 at one point.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Seahawks hosting the Dolphins.
Hosting.
Yeah, this is this is a Seahawks game. I don't see how
it's a Seahawks game. Had they had their full onslaught of weapons, I still might pick them going across all the way to Seattle.
It's hard. Yep.
I still might pick them, but definitely without two, I'm definitely picking Seattle.
Yes. Cowboys hosting the Ravens. Baltimore's a 1-point favorite.
I gotta give the Ravens. The Ravens gotta be upset. They have to. They can't go 0-3.
No, if they go 0-3, that's tough spot.
They can't go 0-3.
Yeah.
So I'm going Baltimore. They could lose though.
They could.
They could lose.
I mean, any team can lose. Like, so these are two teams that are both,
except for Las Vegas.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what. If you're listening to this and you need to know, you need a confidence
lock
pool or whatever. Yeah, the Raiders are like your 16 in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys versus Ravens. Like every fiber of my being says to take Lamar.
Cowboys are coming off. Where's this game being played at?
It's in Cowboy Town.
So it's a back-to-back.
Yes.
Oh, if they lose, the sky is falling in Dallas.
Yeah, because they
If
just
they
gave that
lose
big
two,
contract to Dak, and
and
then
they would have lost their first two home games.
yeah,
That
I'm going Ravens just because I want that to happen.
I kind of do too, and I don't want the Ravens to go 0-3.
No,
I do want Dallas to go 1-2. So yes, I'm picking. I'm with you. I'm picking. Yep, picking Baltimore.
49ers go to Los Angeles to face the Rams. 49ers are seven and a
They're both
half point
hurt.
favorites.
They're both hurt, but I got to give it to the fact that even being hurt, I think that Kyle Shanahan will be able to, with the pieces that he has, still has Ayuk, still has Kittle, has Mason. They'll be able to do something versus the Rams, who just really got Kyron.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm taking the Rams because this accelerates and makes my Cardinals winning the NFC West far more likely. If both of those, if the Rams are 1-2 and the Niners are 1-2, because the Cardinals are host of the Lions, Detroit's only 3 point favorite on the road. I don't know. I gotta go. I'm going Cardinals. I think they're pesky and they're gonna win.
That's not a bad pick. I'm going to go opposite of you because I can't let them go win the NFC West.
I think they're gonna do
So I'm going to pick Detroit. But it's not a bad pick picking Arizona.
it. I like Kyler. I've always liked Kyler. I just think just something about it. He's gonna go out there and he's gonna give the Lions fits. I think he's gonna be one of those guys that just can get away from Aiden Hutchinson. And then you also have Detroit, who against tougher defenses seems to have problems sometimes. So I like the Cardinals here. Then we have on. We were waiting all day for Sunday night to get to Kansas City going to Atlanta. Kansas City 2-0, Falcons 1-1. Kansas City are 3.5 point favorites in the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
Atlanta did not look bad against the Eagles.
They didn't look good either.
They didn't look good, but they have finally figured out just let's give the ball to Bijan.
They did do that. They did that okay.
They've been doing it the last two games, just literally just handing the ball off to him, throwing the ball to him, let him do something. And when he gets tired, Algiers comes in and gets 6 yards on a chunk
They have a
play.
good 1-2 punch there with those two.
7 yards. So
Yep.
I like that. They feel like they've realized that that's how they're going to do it until I guess the rapport between Cousins and the wide receivers get better. But Kansas City.
All that talk to pick the Chiefs. God, I can't. There's nothing in my brain or heart or limbs that says go against Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
I can't.
Not on Sunday. Not on prime time.
Not on prime time. Not against the new look Falcons defense. Just not happening. Now we have this. I don't know why this exists, but there's two Monday night games.
These games don't look that good.
I don't know what the point of either of these games existing is, and why are they on Monday night. But we have the Jags at the Bills. The 0-2 Jags at the 2-0 Bills.
It's the Bills.
It's gotta be. It is the Bills. The Jags.
Jag-
We just spent time talking about how bad they are, and like I can't go against Patrick Mahomes. I'm not gonna go against Josh Allen. Not against this Jaguars team, and not at home. Shoot. Then we have the mighty 0-2 Joe Burrows, who are 7.5 point favorites against the Jaden Daniels and the Commanders.
Dude, I kind of want to pick the Commanders, but if the Giants win and all those other teams lose, it is a 3-way tie for 1 and 3 in the 1 and 2 in the division. So in order for that to happen, for the Giants to keep pace, they have to lose. Washington has to lose to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati has to get their first win.
Yeah.
T. Higgins might be playing. Might be the first game he plays.
We'll see. So you're going Bengals?
I'm on Bengals. Everything I really want to go, my brain says Washington. Now my fandom says I don't want Washington to win, so I'm going to pick whoever's playing against them. And this week it happens to be Cincinnati. So
who's the better team? I think the Bengals are the better team, specifically on paper.
About to say only on paper.
The Commanders have been playing okay. They haven't been playing good. They don't really get in the end zone, but nobody's really
No,
getting in the end zone. The Bengals aren't getting in the end zone.
no. The Washington makes too many penalties on the offensive line. They don't. But but between those 20s, they look okay. And Jaden hasn't been making those big rookie mistakes
Mm-hmm.
that you're waiting for a rookie to make. So
You know what? Just to be contrarian, I am going to
don't you
pick
do it? Don't you
I'm
do
going to pick the Commanders
it?
just so I can extend my lead on the week because I feel like I'm going 16-0 this week.
Like we did last week.
Yeah.
So-
If not better than I can't be worse than last week. I only got 7 right. I think you can get 7 right just flipping coins.
You probably could.
I mean that's
That's how the
all
odds say.
probability works.
That's what probably.
So I don't know.
I didn't see that the Colts place Buckner on IR.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that helps the Bears. I mean, the Colts couldn't stop anybody running the ball before. They're definitely not going to stop anybody now if they don't have their DeForest Buckner there in the middle. All right, so of all these games, let's do something new. What is your and you can't
Lock?
you can't say you can't say the Raiders over the Panthers. So okay, so here's
My
the
Stone
rules.
Cold lock?
It can't be Panthers. It can't be the Panthers loss.
Okay.
What is
Okay.
your lock this week? You got the Jets, the Bears, the Giants, and don't pick the Giants.
I'll let
unless
you.
really
I'll
think
let you go first because I know. I think I know what you're going to pick, and I'm not going to pick that one. So I'll let you go first.
Well, I think my Stone Cold Steve Austin lock of the week here. I don't know why it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. What I'm it. If you want a book, if you want to book it, I say you book it on the Texans beating the Vikings.
Oh, that's your Stone Cold lock.
That is my Stone
that's a
Cold
tough
lock.
pick.
It's spicy. It's
That's a
spicy.
spicy pick.
I'm going spicy.
Because I'm not going spicy. I'm going the easy one. You left one on the table, which is the one I thought you was going with. I'm going with Buffalo over to Jacksonville
Oh yeah, that's true.
on
That's
prime
Harland's
time.
Stone Cold lock of the week. There's a few that are lock candidates for sure, right? That's a good one. I think the
Miami,
Bucks
Seattle.
the
I
Bucks
think
over the
that's-
Broncos is a good one.
Yes.
But I'm going with a tough one. I feel after watching
you picked a tough one.
After watching CJ Stroud this last week, this is the first time I think I've watched like an entire like full 60 minutes of CJ Stroud, and he didn't score in the second half. He was still very good in the second half.
Yes.
The Bears defense was just better. But CJ Stroud was very good in the second half. He was good in the first half, but I just think it's going to happen. Texans over the Vikings. Plus I don't want the Vikings to be 3-0. That's my lock.
That's a
Hey,
like I said, you picked the spicy one.
I picked the spicy lock. You picked the
I picked the meatball.
yeah, like you let's say like if we were buying buffalo wings, you got the mild, you got the garlic butter ones. I got the you're gonna
5 along.
Yeah.
5 along.
make way for the bathroom, and hopefully it's a steel toilet wings. That's what I got. That's all right. I'll take
I
it.
thought you was going Buffalo, Jacksonville. That's why I was like, I'll let you get that one. But when you didn't, I was like, I'm taking it. I'm
There
taking
it is. All right. So if you're a gambler, you probably don't want to listen to me. Maybe you do.
Listen,
Who
listen,
knows?
I'm gonna tell you, if you are betting a losers parlay, if you're not taking Jacksonville, or if you're not taking Buffalo, I don't care what the numbers say. You take Buffalo over Jacksonville. You take the what's the name over the Broncos. You take Tampa Bay over the Broncos, and you do what was the other
Raiders
one?
and Panthers.
Raiders and the Panthers. Oh,
Yeah, those are pretty easy calls, I think. Especially the Panthers. Like it's cheating to pick the Raiders as the lock of the week. It's
the only problem is they got to score 5 more points to them, right? They should still be. And this Andy Dalton is the first time we're seeing them.
no, it's not. We've seen them for 17,
I'm talking
12,
about
13 years.
this year.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see.
Do you have an upset?
still think so.
Do we pick any upsets this week? I think I did. I picked a few. I have the Cardinals over the Lions, the Rams over the 49ers.
I've got Pitt over the Chargers. If that's an upset,
No, Steelers,
Not an upset
Steelers are
enough?
1-point favorites.
Still's a 1-point
Yeah,
favorite.
man, I'm all upsets this week. I have the Patriots over the Jets, The Titans over the Packers.
I got Washington over Cincinnati. No, I don't. I got Cincinnati over Washington. Don't have that.
Yeah.
So that's probably
I
not
got
one.
the Rams over the Niners, the Cardinals over the Lions.
The only dog I have is the Giants over the Cleveland.
Oh,
That's,
I
that's
took the
only,
Browns in that one.
you should,
That's the only dog I
that's
didn't take. It seems like I got the
I
Bears
know.
third dog. I got the Patriots third dog. Man, I'm dogging it this week. We'll see. I'm gonna come out 16-0, and people will be like, "Oh, we need to listen to this guy."
I don't think they will say that, but they're like they must not listen to last week's episode where
I'll delete it
where
offline. No one needs to hear that.
oh, oh, oh man.
All right. Well, I think this is going to be an exciting week of football, and I'm going to be
It should
victorious.
be. Well, I don't know about that. I just want the Giants to be victorious one week. I'd like to have one solid week of watching the Giants and not being sad.
If the Browns have that like elf at midfield,
We
it
got
might be a
chance?
Giants win because of that. I don't know why they put that elf out there, but they do.
Oh.
Or the Darth Vader dog face that they have too. Have you seen that one?
They have it on midfield.
I don't know, but it's like their official like dog logo now. It kind of looks like a Darth Vader almost. It's weird. Oh well. All right, Harland.
All right, man.
I'm gonna let you go.
Next week.
Yep.